Chapter 414. True Dragon Blood Spring 1. Feeling the terrible situation within his body, Kangxia sighed and patiently continued this great restoration project. The night of the misty forest was said to be very dangerous, and those ferocious demonic beasts usually prefer to act at night, as the demonic beasts here dislike the sunlight during the day. Therefore, none of the Bai family's caravan would advance at night. A bloodthirsty knight, under the command of Butler Wong, gathered the caravan together and arranged it into a suggested defense. Afterwards, he ordered 30 more bloodthirsty knights to keep watch. The rest of the bloodthirsty knights, on the other hand, slept and ate, waiting until the middle of the night before switching shifts. It was worth mentioning that because the cultivators here were unable to practice true essence, they were only able to dispel their grain when they reached the Jidan stage. Therefore, the bloodthirsty knights, who were only at the foundation stage, still needed to eat to replenish their strength. And the lorry where Kangxia's was where the food was placed. And the ferocious beasts and demonic beasts that were usually hunted were also placed here. Creak ... Suddenly, the door of the lorry where Kangxia was located was pushed open, and immediately, a small round head poked in, with two big black eyes, curiously looking at Kangxia, who was on his knees with his eyes closed. "Who are you?" Kangxia gently exhaled a mouthful of turbid air and opened his violet eyes, surveying the little boy who had cautiously entered from outside the car with a smile on his face. The little boy was not surprised to see Kangxia awakening. Instead, he revealed an innocent smile and said, "Big brother, my sister is practicing at night. I'm so bored. Can you chat with me?" Saying that, without waiting for Kangxia to say yes, he sat on his bum opposite Kangxia, with two big eyes, staring curiously at Kangxia's purple eyes. "Brother, your eyes are so beautiful," the little boy said, a look of envy on his face. Kangxia laughed bitterly. The word beautiful shouldn't be used on a man, right? But he wasn't in a good position to dwell on this issue with a little doll. So he had to change the topic and asked with a smile, "Little guy, what's your name?" "My name is Bai Kong, Bai Qiang's Bai Qiang's Kong. Big brother, what's your name?" The little boy said seriously. "Bai Kong, huh?" Kangxia was amused by the little boy's words, then learnt the little boy's tone and said, "My name is Kangxia, Kangxia's Kang, Kangxia's Jia." After saying that, he squeezed his eyes towards the little boy. "Gege ... The little boy froze at the sight, and then laughed out loud. Kangxia also laughed. The worries derived from his injuries actually disappeared under this laugh, making him very relaxed. If the cultivation world were to know that the Kangxia, who had shaken the battlefield of righteousness and devilry, actually still had such a childish appearance, one didn't know what they would think. The little boy was about 7 or 8 years old, although he was not very old. But because his parents were powerful cultivators, he had been gifted from a young age, and at only 7 or 8 years old, he already had the mind of a 15 or 16-year-old teenager. Under Kangxia's secret side knocking, he learnt some useful information from the little boy and knew the general situation of the space he was in. This space wasn't very large, about the size of 10 great Tang kingdoms, and it was called the Ancient Immortal Continent because of the many ancient immortal relics. The place he was currently on was an island called Penglai Immortal Island. This island was not in the sea, but in the sky, belonging to an island in the sky. Penglai Immortal Island was a cultivation mecca of the ancient immortal continent, located in the center of the Sea of Illusory Luo, and it was also famous throughout the ancient immortal continent. While the 3 great families on top of the Penglai Immortal Island, the Zhuanyuan family, the Bai family, and the Shuijia family, were also first-class strengths on the ancient immortal continent. The ancient immortal continent is made up of 2 regions, one of which is the Sea of Mirage Luo, an endless ocean filled with all kinds of powerful demonic beasts that are feared. The cultivators in the Sea of Illusory Luo all resided on a flourishing cultivation island, while an island in the sky and the Penglai Immortal Island was unique, so it was known as the Holy Land of the Sea of Illusory Luo. Apart from the Sea of Mirage Luo, the other territory of the ancient Immortal Continent was the Gravity Desert that Butler Wong had mentioned before. In the entire ancient Immortal Continent, apart from the Endless Ocean, there was only the Endless Desert left. I don't know what the reason is, wherever the desert covers. The gravity contained is 100 times more than that of the Mirage Luo Sea, and the living environment in the desert is also very harsh. But land was land after all, and in the entire ancient Immortal Continent, the place with the most cultivators was still the Gravity Desert. The little guy Bai Kong sneaked over to Kang Chia this time, because he was curious about the Gravity Desert and came to him to inquire about the situation. Unfortunately, Kang Chia was an outsider and didn't even know as much about the Gravity Desert as Bai Kong, so he could only change the subject and send this little guy off. It was good that a little kid was a little kid after all, and Kang Chia diverted his attention by casually saying some interesting things. The two of them talked and laughed until they chatted until midnight, when the little boy fell asleep in a daze. And at this time, Butler Wong walked in with a smile and carried the little boy away. Kang Chia smiled faintly. His divine thoughts were omnipresent, and he had already detected that Butler Wong was hiding at the side, obviously worried that he had some intentions towards the little boy. However, he was not uncomfortable about this anyway. As long as he left this place, he would leave, and these people were just passing through his life. Ancient Immortal Continent. I wonder if it was in this space that Emperor Dan found the relics of the hegemony fist back then. Kang Chia softly whispered, a trace of expectation flashing in his eyes. He had gained a lot from the conversation with the little boy. At least, he wasn't so unfamiliar with this space he was currently in. Misty Forest, Penglai Immortal Island, Illusory Luo Sea, Gravity Desert. Kang Chia couldn't help but reveal a hint of a smile. Perhaps entering the Nine Heavens illusion realm this time would be a marvelous journey. The only thing that made him depressed was that he hadn't received a single piece of useful information on how to restore his true essence. According to what the little boy had said, the ancient Immortal Continent didn't even have the word true essence in existence, let alone how to restore it. In the ancient Immortal Continent, all cultivators absorbed the spiritual chair of heaven and earth, and then tempered their physical bodies, causing them to reach the point of immortality. The ranks they used were still the chair practicing stage, foundation establishment stage, node dan stage, out-of-body stage, and so on, the same as the ranks of the cultivators, which were said to be the ranks that had been passed down since ancient times, and had already become the habits of the cultivators of the ancient Immortal Continent. The people of the ancient Immortal Continent should have been bred down by those cultivators who mistakenly entered the Nine Heavens Mirage realm back then. Kang Chia thought so, and it was only then that their class division would be the same as the outside world. Because they couldn't cultivate true essence, the cultivators of the ancient Immortal Continent could only fly in the air with their physical bodies when they reached the Yuanying stage. Therefore, Yuanying stage cultivators were also the experts of the ancient Immortal Continent. However, in the Gravity Desert, because the gravity was too great, only those who had reached the out-of-body stage were able to fly. Out-of-body stage powerhouses belonged to the elder-level existence of clans and sects, and had a high status. At the divine separation stage powerhouses above them, they were party hegemony-level existences. Each one of them was a famous big shot in the ancient Immortal Continent, and the supreme merging period of the strong. That is the existence of the heaven and earth, very rare. Each is living a few thousand years of the old monster, usually rarely appear, only rumors in the legend. In the ancient Immortal Continent of the cultivator, cultivation to the peak of the conjugation stage will also be subjected to the heavenly tribulation test, as long as the tribulation, will be able to metamorphosis of the physical body into an immortal body, ascension to the heavenly realm. This is also the ultimate goal of every cultivator in the ancient immortal continent. Early in the morning, when the first rays of sunlight shone through the cracks of the jungle, one by one, the bloodthirsty knights, all of a sudden, perked up and began to prepare to move forward. This following half a month, Bai Kong would come to Kangqiao every night to chat, at first, but Le Wang was still a little worried. But as they got along more, they started to trust Kangqiao a little bit, even that iceberg beauty also defaulted to Kangqiao's existence. Little friend Kangqiao, it's time for us to talk. On this night, Bai Kong did not come. The one who came was but Le Wang, who looked at Kangqiao with a grave expression and said in a deep voice, "This time, our three great clans entered the forest of misty trails in order to compete for a treasure." Kangqiao immediately revealed a curious expression, but Le Wang's face was very serious, and it was obvious that the words he was about to say involved the secrets of the three great clans.